Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar with Advanced 2000 and Cross Industries titled Your Business in the Cloud. The time is now. This is Chris France speaking, and my friend Sean Marvin will also be joining me throughout this presentation. Please enter your questions in the chat, and we'll ask them and answer them at the end. All right, today's topics, we're going to give some introductions, a little bit more information on Sean and myself, as well as our companies, the benefits of business in the cloud, which is why you're all here. And then we're going to talk about some migration strategies. How do I get there? What do I do next? And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some client success stories, people that are already doing this today, and how things are going for them. And then Sean's going to talk a little bit about some non-cloud pitfalls. There's a lot of people adopting the cloud. There's still people that have not adopted the cloud. And he's going to get into some of the pitfalls of now working like this. And then we'll kind of wrap up with questions. All right. Who is Chris France? Well, I am the regional president for Advanced 2000, and I'll get into the company here in a minute. I've been in IT for a while, 30 some years. I think I've had every job in IT, a CIO to network engineer to software engineer. And I've worked at some of the big banks as well as IBM. So I know IT pretty well. And I'm responsible now for helping clients and growing their business and growing our business with Advanced 2000. I'm an author. I've written several blog posts. I've contributing author to books. I speak quite a bit when we're not in lockdown, that is, or we're on webinars like this. And I've got a tech degree, computer science from Ohio State. Sean, who is Sean Marvin?
All right. Well, I am Sean Marvin, the founder of Cross Industries. I've been doing this about 9 years, like stated on the screen right now. Started as a hobby, and everyone has a gift of something, and mine was technology and getting into computers and figuring out what was what and how to fix things, because back then, computers were expensive. Nowadays, you can buy them anywhere, even online on Amazon for dirt cheap. And just about everyone has some type of technology, whether it be a smartphone, computer, laptop, or what. Someone has something that is based in technology. And over time, I learned to develop that and put it into a skill that's for use and for now for profit, because now owning my own business, 7 years developing it, started as residential, helping house calls more or less, fixing computers at a person's home, turned it into a business, made a lot of money. Now I help businesses succeed. How do I do that? I work with companies like Chris France at Advanced 2000, and we help customers become educated about moving to a more successful platform like the cloud, which his company does extremely well. They've got the knowledge to be able to push a customer into something that is reliable, efficient, and secure. And my job as a business owner is to help educate our customers to move in the right direction. And yes, a lot of our customers are still local, but we service all of the Southeast, so North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And if you want anything else to know about me, I've been in the military for a long time, finally got out, and finally basically retired.
All right.
Yeah, my veteran. Well, I did my time. I'm good. But other than that, it's just a hobby of mine, and I always love learning about something new.
Awesome, Sean. Well, and just as a side note, Sean and I met, we're both down here in Charleston, South Carolina, and we met at a tech event and Tech After Five that Sean runs. And it's a good partner. Sean's a good guy, and we'll kind of get into some of the synergies of our companies here. So who is Advanced 2000? Well, we've been in business nearly 30 years. We've got about 180 people, 80% of which are highly trained and certified IT engineers. We have main offices in 8 cities, and then we work with partners like Sean, Cross Industries. There's people that have their own customer base that they're serving, and on a regional basis, and they like to they see where the advantages of the cloud, and they partner up with a cloud company such as us, and so that's how we kind of work together. We've got clients and offices all over North America. I tell people we're not chasing international work. There's enough business here in North America, but we do have North American clients that have international operations that we do support. So we are We own our own data centers. We are a 24/7 shop, our NOC, our Network Operations Center. We've got we support our clients in Europe as well as the Pacific Rim, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and of course of the North America. And I like to include this quote from our CEO. I like the three T's: the trust, transparency, and teamwork. IT is like a black hole to a lot of business owners, and we try to make it that it is not that. We want to be very honest what's going on, and we work together to run your business successfully. Who's cross industry, Sean? Anything else you want to say on that?
Yep. So we're an IT company. We started as a computer repair shop about 9 years ago. Like I said, we did residential house calls all the time. And slowly it was just myself for the longest time. It was very lonely and very hard, but pushing through it. Now up to 7 employees serving the Southeast. So like I said, we got 3 techs here locally in Charleston, South Carolina. Got another tech up in Durham, North Carolina, and another one in Raleigh, North Carolina, another in Myrtle Beach, and the last one down in Savannah. So been doing this a while and love what we do. Our bread and butter is small business. Well, what is a small business? Anyone, honestly. You've got a business. We're here to help and serve you to make your business succeed. Our goal is to help you become more efficient, more secure, and take care of all of your IT needs so that we can push forward and earn your business. So other than that, been doing this for a while. We are, like I said, small business is a great thing, and we've succeeded it for the past couple of years. We slowly got into doing more security, and now we're working with Advanced 2000 to bridge the gap, more or less. And we look forward to working with everyone here.
All right. Well, and kind of in this, what I'll say is everybody's seeing this trend of moving to the cloud. I would say 5-10 years ago, 90% of your IT was sitting in your office, and I would say 10% was remote, like your phone switch or phone service or whatever, maybe a website. Well, now the cloud, basically you can get more IT for less money. So that kind of dynamic has switched from 90% of your IT business is remote in a data center, and only 10% is local. So that's kind of where Sean and I we partner. Where Sean's if he wasn't progressive and joining with a cloud company, he would see his 90% of his on-site work go away to the cloud. So he wants to do what's best for his customers, and at the same time, we've got 8 or 9 offices around the country. We don't have engineers physically sitting in every location that we have a client office. So we use a partner network, smart hands, local people to work with us in the cloud. And so the markets that we both serve, AEC, architects, engineers, and construction, do a lot of that, and as well as healthcare, government, a lot of state and local, some federal government we've done before, but mostly state and local, accounting, education, K through 12, as well as higher ed, professional services, manufacturing, legal. And I will say, Advanced 2000 is an IT company. I would say half of our clients that are in these industries still have their equipment on premise, and we do support them that way. But as they kind of hit a trigger point to say, hey, do I need to go out and spend $500,000 to upgrade my infrastructure, or can I save a lot of money and get better service by moving to the cloud? So we help them on both sides of the fence, on premise as well as in the cloud. What do we do? Well, maybe at the bottom there, I'd start. The first thing if we're a doctor, we don't like writing prescriptions before we know what's wrong with the patient. So we use our IT strategy and risk assessment. It's some consulting work that we go in, we hook up all of our fancy tools, laptops, and we scan your networks. We see your vulnerabilities. We find out what you'd like to do, where you want to be in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And we put a plan in place. It's a standalone report. Whether you choose to do business with me or Sean, you could use that for your in-house IT if you have that. We do a lot of telephony, both on-premise and hosted. And like I said before, a lot of this on-premise equipment, when it ages out, it's not getting replaced with on-premise equipment. It's getting replaced with hosted or cloud equipment. And we support both of those. And then, of course, private cloud computing. And I'm going to show you a little demo of a desktop. This is all your desktops, websites, servers, data, your financial system. Basically, everything could be running out of a data center, just like it's running in your office. All right, so that's kind of what we do. Let's get into the benefits of moving your business to the cloud. Well, why people are, why do companies want to do this? Well, you can get, all your applications we're going to install on a Windows 10 virtual desktop in our private cloud. Depending on the industry, it's very important to have your desktop application sitting right next to the data, the storage. And even if all you're doing is in a lawyer with Word documents, it's still a lot faster to have your server basically sitting in the same room as your desktop. It's these PCs, Windows 10 are still written for PCs, client server, and it's a much better experience. And then you can get to this virtual desktop, and I'll show you here in a minute, in an action from anywhere. I'm actually going to be sitting in Charleston, logging into a server, a desktop server that's in New York, and it could be California, it could be Boston, it could be Texas, it could be Savannah, it could be anywhere. You log in and you get a full Windows 10 desktop. The learning curve is basically zero because you already know how to use Windows. Well, what this does is it brings your people together, your home workers, all your office locations, even your suppliers, people that are outside of your company, especially during this, COVID-19 quarantine and beyond. A lot of our clients that were already in the cloud working like this, they did it because they wanted to be able to, maybe not have a 2-hour commute, more than they need to in a week. They were able to log in at home and work just like they were sitting in the office. They have distributed workforce. They have virtual workforce. They don't want to spend, money on a 20,000 square feet of office space when they don't need it. They can, have a lot less and then have people work in remote or smaller locations. Everybody can log in and work like they are sitting in the same office. Well, when something like a pandemic hits and forces everybody to be home, they didn't have to make any changes. They just logged in on their laptop at home or their home PC versus their work PC. So there's values to bringing a distributed workforce together with or without a pandemic. Full mobility, you can access it from anywhere. I know a lot of people that have to go to a job site. They've traveled to their clients. They're on the road, sales, whatever. They still need to get access to their data, and they don't want to. And we'll talk about this at VPN. You don't want to move data with our cloud. You're not having to move data. There's no data movement, no synchronization, no files getting corrupted. Everything's sitting secure in a data center with your documents and and applications. Everybody talks about server redundancy and network redundancy and desktop redundancy, but no, you don't really hear people talking about IT staff redundancy too often. A lot of our customers are small. I know Sean's as well. They might have one IT person, and if that person quits, gets a better job, gets sick, from the pandemic, they're in a world of hurt because they got all the passwords. They haven't maybe documented things as well as they should have for the next person coming in and taking over. I've seen a lot of businesses that were in a real pickle because they did not have staff redundancy. The cloud gives you that, like all those 100 or so engineers that I mentioned. We have everybody's infrastructure documented in an encrypted environment. We know your passwords. We know your network configurations. We know how to get into it. So if somebody is sick or an engineer leaves or whatever, the client doesn't even realize it because somebody else just steps in and keeps working. It's a true team effort. And we got your back 24/7. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day, somebody will be there to answer the phone to help you. Business continuity and disaster recovery is baked in. A lot of people have to go out and spend a lot of extra money. Oh, I got to get some data center space, and I got to stand up some servers, and I got to buy all these desktops just in case I get a hurricane or whatever. That's 300 miles away that we can work. That's all very expensive, especially when you don't use it that often. It's sitting idle, a very, very inefficient way. With the cloud, because we have everything virtualized, we have virtualized desktops, we have virtualized servers, we have virtualized networks, we can have hardware failures and you don't even know it. We can fail it over to, we have spares of everything, N+2 spares. That means we have at least 2 spare nodes wherever. So if one, we had some clients that got hit with, Hurricane Sandy in New York City area, New Jersey. Their offices were underwater, but they just had to relocate to a, hotel or a different location, plug into the internet, all of their stuff was still up and running. And that's all included in the cost of the cloud. You don't have to pay extra for your business continuity and disaster recovery. IT infrastructure cost reduction. This is, I tell CEOs and CFOs, I get this question a lot. Well, how's this going to save me money? Especially if you're we can save you money if you're generally one office, but if you've got 3, 4, 5 different offices or more, the more offices you have, the more potential for savings there are. I tell people, look, 20 offices of IT cost more than one. It's just that simple. When we move your infrastructure to the cloud, I'll just take one example of your server. Say you have a terabyte of server storage, and you have 5 offices, and you want to share that information with 5 offices. So now you have 5 servers, 5 terabytes of information at each location. And oh yeah, you got to back it up. Do you back it up at every location? Then you'll have another copy, or do you back it up with one and sync it? It gets to be so you got all this data. Well, if you had that server in the cloud, 1 terabyte, everybody gets to it. You got 1 terabyte in one backup. It's huge consolidation. And then, hosted phones, it just kind of goes on. We used to have all these PBX switches in our offices, T1 PRI line coming in for dial tone, and all that's kind of go away. I would say if you're still paying a T1 line for your phone system, you definitely can save money. I've had clients that basically got a free phone system because they were able to use the same network, their data network, for their phones and shut off all their T1s. So that's kind of the benefits. That's why people do this, and everybody's got their own reason. You start with 1 or 2 and go for it. All right, before we get into the migration strategies, I want to just kind of go live and just show you what this desktop cloud looks like. So I'm on a MacBook in my home office, and this is the VMware Horizon client. And I'm going to bring up, I've got, see that you can log into different clouds. I can log in. This Horizon one is my new employee cloud. I log into my Advanced 2000 desktop. This is my old version of VMware. That's how we do it. We basically, when we upgrade the VMware, we just give you a new icon, and eventually my desktop will go away. And then I have a demo cloud. This is what our clients use. So anybody, if you guys like what you hear today and see, reach out to us, and I can get you free demos. You can try this yourself with your data. So basically, click on the demo, and if I get the password right, type in your password, and then it comes up. I'm on a Designer VDI, which basically has some pretty much beefy specs. We've got probably 8 different standard configurations of virtual desktops that fit most of our clients. But then you can certainly configure it, customize it yourself. So this is an architectural design program. It's basically a sample house. So this is actually, I'm in Charleston. This is actually in New York. And if you see any lag, it's because of the Go Meet webinar you're on. I'm sitting in front of it, and it's like 0 lag. It's like it's sitting right on my computer. And I'm just going to show you. This is, whoops. It's one thing you can get confused. So this is a regular. I'm on a MacBook, but this is a Windows 10 desktop. So you got a standard, menu, and I've got just some screens up here to show you. On this one has it's a 64-bit operating system, 32 gigs of RAM, and like I said, it's pretty beefy, and it's got a dedicated graphics card in this one, just because this needs it. It could be Word if all you need is Word. I have one of these sample restaurant brochures I pulled up. And the really cool thing that a lot of our clients like is I'm sitting on a, Comcast Xfinity cable modem in my house. Maybe it's 100 meg, especially now everybody's on it. But we've got, like 10 gig circuits, internet circuits going into the data center. So you can actually log on to your virtual desktop and get better internet performance if you need to go out and do some stuff, surfing or whatever, than you can in your house. So right now in this demo, you can see I'm pulling, 250, whatever megs, and it'll be up and down symmetrical. So that's basically, and you saw all these programs were open when I logged in. I could have something running kind of on the back in the background on my virtual desktop, and then just disconnect and it's still running. So I can just disconnect, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I hit the little button here, and you can see here it's 3:30 upload. So it's pretty good internet connection. So I just disconnect and I go back to the presentation on my MacBook. That's what the cloud looks like. So how do you get there? There's three main I would call it strategies that our clients have used to move their business to the cloud. The first one is project based. Um, there's a small, generally a dispersed team to say, hey, there's this team that's 10 people that are in 5 different states across the country. We need to bring them together in a secure environment. They need to be able to work together from wherever they're at. So, and like I said, it starts out real small, 10 people or so. The next one is called a phased or hybrid approach. Obviously, if you just spent $500,000 upgrading some of your local IT infrastructure, you don't want to throw that out and move to the cloud. You've got to kind of ride out those investments. That's why we try to get to clients before they make those investments in the local stuff. But some clients bought a $200,000 storage area network. We were able to kind of forklift that, move it to the data center so that they can leverage it with their other cloud services, desktops, etc. Um, maybe we move the phone systems because that's aging, but the servers, not so much. Maybe the headquarters servers is still good, but the regional office servers, they need to be replaced. So we work out a plan with the client to figure out what's the best way so that you don't have to throw out your IT investments but still be able to take advantage and migrate to the cloud. And the last strategy is what I call the big bang or the all in. I've had 50-person firms call me and said, everything's failing. My desktops, my servers, how fast can you move us? And so we'll just basically, move them. And we've got about 20,000 VDIs that we're managing now, and we've moved firms larger than 200, but we generally move up to about 200 people in a weekend. We could go higher if we wanted to. Basically, we build all your VDIs, we build all your servers, we replicate your data, and we get it all working, and we just do a cut over a weekend. Phones, servers, everything. And like I said, that's all at once. Some clients like to go location by location, so it's up to you. So we it goes back to that IT assessment I was talking about. We figure out what you have, what you really need to replace, where you want to go, and then what's the most cost-effective way to get there. All right, some of the client success stories here. See the first one, 12 phones, Fitzpatrick Engineering. This was one of my clients that was already, they've been in the cloud for, gosh, probably 5-6 years now. And, Doug Fitzpatrick was the principal of the firm. He says, I'm doing structural engineering by day and I'm doing IT at night and weekend. And he says, I can't keep burning a candle at both ends. So he says, I'm ready to outsource all this to you guys. I want to work in the cloud. And he said, I'm really glad I did. When this pandemic hit, he bought power over Ethernet switches from us. So all his phones were working, the hosted phone system in his office. The only thing he needed to do was buy like a $10 power cord for his, he didn't have, the staff didn't have PoE switches in their house, power over Ethernet. So he bought little power cords to plug their phones in at home. All they did was unplug them at work, bring them home, plug them in at home, plug them into their internet, boom, comes up. They're all talking and chatting just like they were back in the office. He says, this is awesome. Next one is Harrison Design. This they've got about 112 cloud desktops, and they're all in. They're that last strategy. They're all in client, but they were a phased approach, office by office. Fitzpatrick was an all in client, big bang, boom, all at once. And they said they started migrating to the cloud last year, probably September, October, and we finished, by just in time for the pandemic to hit. So that was good timing on their part. They're working just fine. CT Lowndes Insurance, a local company here. They needed to have a regulatory compliance for their email. They needed multi-factor authentication, and our cloud engineers got in there and worked with them and knocked that out for them. The Mashburn Construction, you probably see their signs all around down here in the Mount Pleasant, Columbia, and so forth. They're an all-in client, and again, they're working. This pandemic didn't even affect them. And then lastly, the confidential client. It's just called the theme park entertainment. We've got about 800 cloud desktops, and those are the high end CAD. They're designing the parks and stuff, and rides and SolidWorks and all this kind of stuff. So that was a project cloud that they needed to connect all of their consultants, their supply chain that were outside of their company in a secure encrypted fashion. So that's how these clients are using the cloud, and like I said, they are able to continue to do so even through this pandemic. And Sean, why don't we talk about, okay, if you don't go to the cloud, what are some of the pitfalls?
Okay, sounds good. I mean, so the number one thing that we always get is it's too costly to move to the cloud. But our main argument against that is, okay, so if it's too costly now, what happens, like, let's say during this pandemic? You can't get to the office. Everyone's connected at the office. Great, you can access the files from the server. What about using a VPN? A VPN is extremely slow, and everyone's computers at homes, we don't manage. So now there's a risk of security issues and either a ransomware or some type of virus infecting that computer and then hijacking the connection. So now you have a risk of losing all of your business data because you're now going through two separate connections to get back to the office in order to get those files, rather than just have everything in the cloud instantly ready to go at your fingertips. Like Chris showed you, he did it in about 2 seconds. He pointed, clicked on the link, and opened it up, and all of his programs are already open and ready to go. Now, that's for one instance. The other is connection. Well, what if our internet's not fast enough? Honestly, you saw his connection. He said he's using Comcast. If you're in this area, you know Comcast has terrible internet connections.
Yeah, and you don't need 2 megs. They can generally give me 2 megs of bandwidth.
Right. So it's not like you need a very fast internet connection. And
No.
for some of the other customers that we have in the area, we have failover 4G. So we can put 4G, Verizon 4G, which everyone knows to be reliable and fast, wherever you are. We can put that in wherever you need it. And it's cheap. It's not like it's going
Yep.
to cost an arm and a leg. There's no $1,000 a month. There's no contract. There's no minimum. The goal is to keep your business moving forward. The way to do so is, yeah, you may still have a server for files on site at your office. That's fine. But like Chris said, do the hybrid approach. Make sure that we can make this as seamless and effective and efficient as possible. It's secure that way. If you just want to host everything in one server, you're putting all of your eggs in one basket. That server may have a warranty, but that warranty only lasts so long. Moving to the cloud makes it redundant. That
Yeah.
means there's more than one spot for your data. So at any given time, let's say they're having a server maintenance at Advanced 2000, your data is still there and accessible whenever you need it. On top of that, the other argument we get is, well, some of the stuff may not work in the cloud, or we don't know how to install it in the cloud. Chris's group, they can handle that. They know what they're doing. They will assist you every step of the way to ensure your business will succeed. Moving to the cloud isn't like it was 10, 20
Right.
years ago. It's
I say if
affordable now.
I say if it runs on your computer, it'll run on ours. Well,
Exactly.
Sean, what kind of hassles have you run into with desk phones locally?
So desk phone, no one really gives too much thought into a desk phone. And you look at it this way, a desk phone, 90% of the phones in an office nowadays, you can't move from one desk to the other without calling an IT company or a phone company to come move some wires. If you move it to the cloud, you can move that phone from your office space. And let's say, like right now, a lot of places are still closed. You can move it to your home, work from home efficiently without having to give out your cell phone. You don't have to worry about forwarding a call, losing a call or an important meeting because you don't want to use your cell phone or you have bad service. We Moving it to the cloud is simple and effective. It's the smart thing to do, honestly. Our phone system is in the cloud because, one, let's say I'm moving. I can even put the app on my smartphone, and I don't have to worry about that business phone number going to a voicemail that no one answers.
Exactly.
And everyone thinks that it's a high cost of moving the phones. No, it's very simple and cheap. Actually, you're probably paying more for your office phones now than you would be if you went to the cloud.
Exactly. And I just want to make a point on what you said, Sean, about cost. Where the cost comes in is if the companies are not willing to make changes in their IT. If they're going to have everything local and then everything in the cloud, that doesn't work. Basically, you're paying for two infrastructures. You have to
Exactly.
have it. You have to have it in the cloud. I'll just give you some numbers. Small three-person firm. Um, obviously cash flow is really important to a small business owner, so they're looking at, he said, I don't know if I can afford your cloud. He ran the numbers, did an ROI, and said, all right, this is what I'm spending now on local hardware, IT consultants that come in every so often, and then I looked at getting the same services from you. And the numbers for a small one office, three-person firm, it's a wash. It's basically for the same amount of money per year. He says, good, I can afford you guys. He said, well, I did the reverse. And he says, what if I tried to duplicate everything I'm getting from Advanced 2000 on premise? 24/7 support, redundant hardware, redundant circuits, all this stuff. And he goes, virtualization. A small business cannot afford to do virtualization on their own. He says, it would be astronomically expensive if I tried to duplicate everything Advance was giving me. So basically, I get way more IT for the same amount of money. On the flip side, if you're a 200-person firm, maybe 4 offices, you have a huge potential for saving. I've seen some clients save 50% of their annual IT spend by moving to the cloud. And that's what catches the attention of a CFO. They're like, wait a minute, if there's a more efficient way to do this, we need to take a look at it. Now, like I said, you got to phase it. You just can't throw out everything and start buying all new stuff. You've got to put it, back to that IT assessment. You got to figure out what's your budget, what do you have, and how do we get there.
Right.
Anything you wanted to say on here on this slide, Sean? Anything else?
Yeah, so to add on to what you were just saying, the other thing is when you move to the cloud, it's scalable. If you try to scale something on premise, you're looking at 10 times the cost
Exactly.
because now you're involving engineers or techs that have to get involved for the physical hardware, and you may need new stuff to be installed as well. Scaling in the cloud is as simple as what? Clicking a button.
Yep.
And it is all projected numbers. You will see the numbers before you even have to pay for it. So let's say you have an office with 25 users. Okay, you already know the cost on that. Well, let's add another user. You already know the cost ahead of time for that user rather than having to look at a computer, how much it is to train that, how much it is for setup, getting an on site tech person to set everything up and go over everything and then test it again. You don't have to do that when you're in the cloud. It's just a point and click, add a user. You already know what you need to set up, and it's ready to go.
Exactly.
So
Anything else?
that's it.
All right, I'm going to take just a short little detour into security. Obviously, I get asked this question a lot. Oh, if I put all my eggs in your cloud basket, how secure is your basket? I would say it's pretty secure. Now, this webinar is being recorded, so I don't publish our detailed security protocols because hackers can use that to gain access. But we can have those kind of one-on-one when we're under NDA. Directly with clients. We've been audited by some big name clients. We've been audited by KPMG. We've been audited by SAIC. and we've passed. And we're getting audited according to the SSAE 16 or 18 standards, and as well as the specific client standards. We have third-party penetration tests. We have I'll call them white hat hackers with all of the hacker tools on staff that are doing things to our network and our clients' networks, scanning, looking for vulnerabilities, the same things that a hacker would do, except we're the good guys. We look to close them and keep people out as opposed to exploiting them. So we spend a tremendous amount of money on security. We have multi-layer security. That's another reason why we like to own our own data centers. We control the physical access to our buildings, our real estate, our dark fiber we own. We have multiple layers of virtualization, the VMware, switches. We have enterprise class switches, the same switches that the Verizons and AT&T use for their networks. We have in our data center that have additional security on there, as well as the application security, database security, Microsoft security, blah blah blah. So security is definitely not only a full-time job, but it's a huge team of people that are focused on that. You get this by default because you're a client. I would say our clients, unless you're, like a Bank of America that are spending, more money than our annual revenue on security, you're going to be way more secure in our cloud than you are right now sitting in your office. And so that's kind of like, I tell people, it's kind of like we're an IT high rise, and our clients might rent a floor or two floors or just like a little office space, but they've got all these amenities, they've got the redundancy, they've got the security, and they've got people they can talk to and get a hold of, like Sean and myself. So that's kind of what we do on security. And just to wrap this up, just to kind of summarize here, Sean and my offer is to move your business to our private cloud. Your business needs this to keep running, even growing in these times. Your staff needs to be productive, and they need to be able to collaborate no matter where they're at. And you need disaster recovery for no additional cost. How do you get this? There's our contact information, our phones, our emails. Please reach out, and we would love to help you. You want to close with anything, Sean?
Yeah, so like you said, more or less, follow up with us if you have questions. I love answering questions. That's my thing. Is if I know someone has questions, that means that they're engaged and active and wanting to succeed. If you're not asking questions, you're either ignoring it or you're pushing it off to where it doesn't need to be. And IT is something that every business has. And I say that even with retail, you have cash registers and all that are on that. But ask questions. If you ask a question, no question is a dumb question, honestly. You
Exactly.
can ask
Well,
any question in the world, and I'd love to answer it to make sure that you can succeed.
speaking of questions, did we get any, Sean, on the webinar?
Uh, let's see here. Oh, if I can click it. It doesn't want to click. I don't see any questions in here. Let's see. I don't think half my stuff's not loading. I love this computer.
Got to move to the cloud.
Yeah, no, I have some stuff in the cloud. No questions, but I did have one for you. Maybe you can follow up on this.
Yeah.
So we have a couple customers that always ask this: what type of computer would they need if they want to succeed in moving to the cloud? Because you're going to need a connection at an end user level. What type of computer would Advanced 2000 recommend?
Yep. Good question. I get this a lot. So back to that, we don't want you to throw out perfectly good assets if you don't want to. So most people, if you've got, I will say, by having your desktop on the cloud, all the power, all the graphics is in the data center. You need a very low powered computer. We actually tried to see how low we can go. I think I bought a $200 computer from Fry's or Best Buy. I forget where I bought it, and it connects to the cloud just fine. And so a lot of people they'll extend the age of their desktop, so their desktops might not be able to run their programs anymore, but they can certainly connect to a computer in the cloud, so they can extend their local hardware. They don't have to throw out their PCs right away. Many clients want to be able to go mobile. They're sitting with a boat anchor in their office. They want to get a tablet or a laptop or whatever. But most of our clients are probably buying between $400 and $800 laptops and or tablets. And a lot of clients that don't want to go with the mobility isn't really a factor. They have what I call thin clients. Or basically, it's a solid state device that's sitting in your office. You plug in a monitor, mouse, keyboard, and it just launches your remote desktop, and they're like $400. And so sometimes they might say, well, I really want to have two of them. So I'll have one at the office and one at home. So that's an option as well. So that goes back into, what's your goal, what's your budget, but you certainly don't need, and you don't have to give the same to everybody. You can let people pick, okay, you want a tablet, you go, whatever. If you want a dumb terminal, you do that. So that's kind of what we look like. From an IT perspective, if you ask me, a thin client terminal is the lowest support. We like that. You don't have an operating system. They're solid state. They last about 7 years. That's a good plus. But if you need to go mobile, I would go like low end laptop or a tablet.
Okay. So another question that we always get asked is, what are the next steps to move to the cloud? Who should we contact, and where do we go from here?
You can contact Sean or Chris. That'd be the first thing. So typically, the way some of our clients, they say, yeah, I already know about you guys. I already know about virtual desktops. I know all this works. Draw me up a proposal and how fast can you move me? I like those kind of calls. Most of our clients will go, hey, this is all new to me. I don't know how this is exactly going to work with my business. They call us up and they want to demo it. So we give out 2 demo VDIs. We talk to them a little bit, have an initial call to say what kind of applications you're going to run. It helps us to know what kind of demo desktop you're going to need. We give you 2. That way, 2 people could be logged in at the same time, and you can actually test the collaboration, with a common file share. And so they start with a demo. They get to be familiar with it. They load their projects, their data to actually see how the cloud would work with their stuff. And they kind of get the idea with our demos. And it's a 2-week demo, free, no cost to that. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, clients will do one of 2 things. They'll either decide to go all in. They go, okay, let's put a plan in place to get everybody moved, or we're going to do a little proof of concept. That 5 or 10 people that I mentioned. So there's different ways. Like I said, depending on your needs. If all your local stuff is failing and you need to move fast, we can move you fast. If your stuff is not failing and you can plan this out and want to test it and vet it, we can work that way as well.
Okay. And I think the last question I had here is, what if we've never had an IT company? We're looking to move to the cloud and we don't know where to start. Would y'all come out to assess our needs?
Of course, exactly. Um, we typically what we would do, we would have a short call first to figure out what we need, and that goes back to exactly what I was talking about earlier, our IT assessment, where we come out. We actually send an engineer on site that has experience with not only the on-premise technology but our cloud technology, and we've got all kinds of scanning tools for our cloud and so forth, and your network, and we basically get all the hard data. Not what you think might be there, not what you think you purchased 2 years ago or whatever. We actually let the little bots run on your network to see what you actually have and how things are patched or not patched. And then we put a plan together and figure out what needs to be done.
All right.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Sounds great. All right. Well, that's all the questions that I know my customers have had, and I know moving forward, there's probably going to be more. But like Chris says, contact me or him to go ahead and get you set up. Let's just get a feeler phone call. We
Exactly.
can always chat for free, figure out what you need, and see how we can move you forward.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you. You everyone have a wonderful day.